What in the world is going on with the Biden White House? We're finding documents everywhere. Welcome to the Conservative Poet with me, Amanya. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go live with the press secretary. So we're just going to sit with her and just go through her briefing without me even listening to it beforehand, because I normally would and then go back and make my video. But today we're going to just raw dog it and see how this goes, because the documents are hot and the documents are being put out there. Every time you turn around, more documents are being brought up. Let's go and see what she's up to. So this is one of the reasons why I'm not in her character today, with my wig, but I wanted to just give my honest reactions to her as myself outside of trying to portray her. Now, I might go into character and just, be her, but I really wanted to just give this today as myself without me trying to pretend to be her. All right. If you're interested in seeing how that goes, then stay tuned.
All the conversation was about the documents in the office. However, according to the Attorney General, the documents were found on December 20th in his garage in Wilmington. Why was that not immediately addressed? His lawyer was being transparent about that if that was already known and not discussed up front.
So documents found right before the general elections, right before the midterms happened. They knew about these documents. They knew about this days ahead of the election. This thing could have changed the results of these midterms. The way things went could have drastically gone so much differently than what we received. If the American people knew that Joe Biden was holding on to classified documents at his house where his son, the crackhead, could get his hands on them, where his son, the crackhead, was entertaining, since he was living there, entertaining his guests, his, for lack of better words, hookers and whores. Let's go.
You said transparent. I want to say that we have been transparent here. That is why the minute that his lawyers found those documents, they reported it. They reached out to the archives and the Department of Justice, and they did that voluntarily. And they were not compelled to do it. They did it voluntarily. Now, I want to step back a little bit as you're asking me about the timeline. Look, the lawyer said we have been working closely with the Department of Justice and coordinating a search that was still ongoing to ensure any additional documents were in the proper possession of the government. After that search, after the search concluded last night, we released a statement disclosing the facts from that search, as you all know, this morning. This is all part of the Justice Department process, and you heard the Attorney General speak to this today. So we are being very careful to be fully cooperative with the Department of Justice and providing details as appropriate as part of that process.
So why did you fully describe the documents when we were first asked this week?
Because, and I actually answered that question. I said because there was a process happening.
She seemed to always answer questions, but yet never answer a question. She goes on and on and on and on and on, talks, goes around in circles, jumping jack flash, but never really answer questions. And that's one of the frustrating things about watching these briefings. And though I don't watch them because I watch for information from her, I watch them because of the channel, because I need to, do this. Outside of that, I couldn't stomach watching this because she never answers questions. She never really does the job the way she's supposed to. She just dodges you and never really answer. And I'm pretty sure that the reporters in the room feel that the exact same way. Now that the table seems to be turning, it seems that people on her side, Team Biden, reporters seem to be asking these not even tough questions. They're just common sense questions because this thing has arrived at our doorsteps. But, before they weren't they were just complicit and compliant in just, not asking tough questions or not asking questions at all. We had a few people in the room who would ask. And now that, things is happening and they're actually asking questions and they're holding Karine Jean Pierre to her job to make sure she's doing her job, they're asking tough questions and you can see she's very uncomfortable. You can see she's very annoyed and you can see she's not having it. So let's just get back.
Our reporting is as accurate as possible. The special counsel's, the White House counsel's statement this morning said that documents were found in the president's Wilmington residence garage and in an adjacent room. But when the president mentioned this himself in person earlier, he said they were found in storage areas and in his personal library. So can you just clear this up? Which room, where were the documents actually found in his residence?
Okay, so let me just step back because I know all of you will have a lot of questions.
That's why you're here, is to answer questions, girlfriend. You're here to answer questions.
Lay this out very clearly and precisely. I want to make sure no one is confused, as you just said, Mary. As soon as the president's...
You're the one who makes people confused. It seems you're the one who's confused because you keep giving information that people aren't asking for. How about you just answer the questions without dramatics?
Lawyers found these documents. They immediately contacted Archives and Department of Justice, as I've said many times already, to ensure that they were handled properly. The president has said this. We are being fully cooperative with the Department of Justice throughout this process. As part of the president's lawyers look through the places where documents could have been stored, and the counsel's office released, as you said, a statement explaining that. So I would refer you back to the statement. I don't have anything more to say, but that search was completed last night.
You never have anything more to say. You never have anything more to say. She is so frustrating.
Right? And now this is in the hands of the Justice Department. So look, I want to be very prudent here, as I said yesterday, as you all have reported over and over again. About any questions.
Do you see how annoyed she is? Do you see how annoyed she is? I do.
About this, any specifics, there's a review going on, and I would refer you to the Department of Justice or my colleagues in the counsel's office. But again, I'm just not going to...
Yeah, I don't have the answers. Stop bugging me. Stop asking me for these. Stop. I have no answers. I have nothing more to offer you. Stop annoying me. Stop pushing me. Stop pushing me and stop pushing me. I don't have any more to give to you.
Go beyond what the president said. We just laid out the process that was taken.
It sounds like you're saying we should go off of the counsel's statement saying it was found in the garage in an adjacent room.
I'm just saying I'm not going to go beyond what the president said. I'm not going to. Mary, I completely understand. I just want to be very careful because there is an ongoing investigation. I want to be prudent here and make sure if you have any additional questions about where things were found, again, I refer you to the statement.
Oh, you don't know. She don't know. What she's saying is that she can't answer because if she says it's the attorney, what the attorney says is the truth, then Biden is lying. And if she says what Biden says is true, then the attorney is lying. Somewhere in the middle, somebody's lying. Somebody ain't telling the truth about where these documents were found. And it's your job to clear it up. But as Karine Jean Pierre says, I have nothing more to give. I have nothing more to give. I have nothing more to give.
I'm not going to go beyond what the president said.
I'm not going to go beyond what the president says. I'm not going to go beyond that. I have nothing more to offer at this time. Nothing to.
And one other point of clarification. The president said Tuesday he was surprised to learn about the documents at the Penn Biden Center, that he didn't know what was in these documents. He didn't sort of repeat that this morning about the documents found at his residence. So was he also surprised to learn that they were classified documents at his residence, and does he know any information about what's in them?
He was surprised that the documents were there, and that is...
I don't think Joe Biden was surprised. I think Joe Biden knew those documents were there. He brought them there, and they have done whatever business with our enemies, with his son, mainly with his son. They knew they were there.
that is also in line with what we shared this morning. And again, he takes this very seriously when it comes to classified information, when it comes to classified documents. And again, it still stays the same. He was surprised that the records were found. He does not know what's in them. That has not changed.
When are they going to tell us what's in them? Are they going to tell us what's in them? I know because they're classified. But are they sensitive information that could be sold to the enemy, that could be maybe one of the reasons why, we're bitches of China, why China screws us every time? I wonder, are these documents things that could really hurt us, that's been sitting there with Joe Biden's son, who's making money in China, with Joe Biden's son, who's making money in Ukraine? How does that work? Those documents laid around in the garage, laid around wherever, and crackhead Biden's son, Hunter, where's Hunter? Crackhead Hunter, just around, snorting and doing all kinds of nonsense with private, sensitive documents there while he's entertaining his hookers. I mean, my God.
And again, his team, when they identified that they were there, they immediately reached out to the archives, reached out to DOJ, just as they did last night, and as we have pretty much laid out previously.
And one more, just because much has been made of the differences here between what you all have handled these documents and the way that the former president handled documents that were taken from the White House. When the FBI Garland said when the FBI went to the location being the president's residence, and secured these documents. Did the FBI just retrieve documents, or was there a search of the residence?
Again, I'm just not going to go into the particulars or the specifics of what the Department of Justice did. I can speak to what we have done and what is already out there. We laid out a statement pretty extensively on Monday. We've been laid out a statement this morning on what was found last night. I'm just not going to go beyond. I would refer you to the Department of Justice to give you the specific.
I can't go beyond. Why don't you go find the information yourself? I'm just here, standing here to read from a book. You call up the Department of Justice and you find out. Well, maybe the reporter should do that. Maybe because they're not getting anything out of Karine Jean Pierre. So maybe they should be calling the Department of Justice and start doing some real journalist work, some real reporting, some real on the ground, boots on the ground, investigative journaling, How about that? Because obviously you guys aren't getting anything from her. Get your boots on the ground, or should I say you get your heels on the ground and go and find out what's happening in Capitol Hill on your own, because you're not going to get anything out of this woman.
On that, as you know, there's an ongoing process. There's a review currently occurring. Okay.
Thanks. I got great. Can you shed any light on how the documents got to these places and why?
Again, there's an ongoing process. It's being reviewed. Don't have more to share. I'm going to let the Department of Justice answer any questions as they're looking at this.
One of the main problems with her is she repeats the same thing over and over again. She does not deviate from the binder. She does not deviate from the folder. I don't understand that. I get that you need to be scripted. If you're telling the truth, you should be able to tell the truth, because you've been dealing with this, and the truth should be able to come out naturally, but it doesn't seem to do that in this case.
I think that the appointment of a special prosecutor was warranted.
I'm not going to get into the decisions that was made by the Attorney General. I will say this, and you've heard me say this many times before.
What will you say?
This is a president that believes in the independence of the Justice Department. This is something that he has been saying since the campaign, and you've heard me say this over and over in restoring that independence. So look, we have been very, very careful here not to appear from the White House to influence their decision-making on any number of issues. As you've heard me say over and over again, I've said this many times. What
broadly does the White House make of comparisons between President Biden's handling of documents and former President Trump's handling?
I'm not going to get into politics from here. What I can say is what I've laid out, which is the president takes this very seriously. He does. He said this twice.
Didn't she just say that? The president takes this very seriously. Yeah, we get that he takes this very seriously.
And he did not know that the records were there when they were found. He does not know what's in them. And what he...
Are you sure about that, girlfriend? Are you sure that Joe Biden doesn't know what was in those documents? Are you sure? Because I don't think you're sure.
He did and what his team did is the minute that they realized that the documents were there, they reached out to the archives, they reached out to the Department of Justice. And I'll just leave it there, and I'll leave you all to pontificate and do your punditry. I will not do that from here. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. In the statement,
The politics press secretary says, I can't talk politics behind this podium. Let's just understand that. The press secretary of the United States of America, the Affirmative Action, is telling us that she cannot talk politics on that podium. The reason you're behind this podium is because of politics. This is all politics. But she can't talk about that.
from the special counsel that the second set of documents, if the lawyers have completed the ongoing review by the president's legal...
Dude, it seems everybody has questions about these documents. And it seems that she keeps giving the same answer over and over. Everybody's coming with different questions, but you're all getting the same answer.
team last night. Does that mean there are no other locations where documents could be stored? There's no other search underway at this moment in time for documents from the Vice President's time?
So as I'm just going to, again, that statement pretty much lays it out, that they have, as far as the lawyers, they look through the places where documents could have been stored, and the counsel's office released a statement on that. Now it is in the hands of the special counsel.
So we should assume that it has been completed?
You should assume that it's been completed, yes.
Okay. And then I just want to square something that Chris...
It has been completed, she says. It has been completed, she says. No more documents. We're not going to find any more. No more hidden gems anywhere across Washington, D.C. or Delaware or Zimbabwe. Who knows?
was asking about. The review was underway when you guys gave a detailed statement about the first set of documents. The review was underway when the president spoke about the first set of documents. You're now saying that you didn't talk about the second set of documents discovered almost a month prior because the review was underway. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
No,
the review was underway the entire time. The only difference was that reporters had information on the first set of documents, and therefore you chose to exclude the second set of documents until reporters got information on the second set of documents.
Well, let me unconfuse you for a second, Phil. Look, we were trying to do this by the book, and I said yesterday this was under review by the Department of Justice, and the process is as such. When the president's lawyers realized that the documents existed, that they were there, they reached out to the archives. They reached out to the Department of Justice. Rightfully so, may I add. That is what you're supposed to do as lawyers. That's what they did. And
she's saying the same thing. Oh my God. It's really frustrating.
They have fully been cooperating with the Department of Justice. And again, I said this earlier in answering a question.
Shocking you said it earlier.
The Attorney General, he said shortly after the documents were discovered, we did outreach, the President's lawyers did outreach to the Department of Justice and archivists.
Questioning that. That's not what we're asking about. We're asking about...
I'm telling you that there's a process. I just laid out what the process is. And I'm telling you that we were trying to do this by the book, and it was an ongoing process. I'm not going to get beyond that, but that is how this works.
How can you say this was transparent when you've settled this information for more than 2 months?
Thank you, Karine.
Thank you.
We are seeking...
Yo, people are asking questions. This is very, very uncharted territory. Normally, she only has our man Ducey asking the tough questions, but everybody she goes to is coming with questions. I mean, yeah, they're not, she's not prepared for this. And I can't wait to hear the State of the Union when it comes next month. Oh, Lord, I cannot wait to see how that goes.
Information, and I appreciate and understand why the press office can only say so much. So help us understand this.
Help us.
Who are the president's personal counsel that the Attorney General referred to today?
I was asked that question earlier. Let me get back to you. I actually don't have that answer. I think I know who it is, but I want
You don't have the answers?
to make 100% clear.
Bob Bauer is one, potentially Dana Remus, James Garland, Robert Lamb. Are
Look,
they the ones that have been
so
contacting the Justice Department?
Look, again, I don't want to, I want to say the right thing from here, so I would have to talk to the White House counsel, or you would have to reach out to the White House counsel to talk about who is his personal lawyers.
To button this up, the first set of documents were found in November at the Penn Biden Center here in Washington. Why did it take until yesterday, until this morning apparently, for whoever it was to inform Robert Lausch that that final document was found? Was that because there were press reports earlier this week?
Again,
And the hope was that nobody would find out?
again,
Or was it because
there is a process, an ongoing process that is occurring. We did this by the book, and what I mean by that is the moment that the lawyers discovered that the papers were there or the documents were there, they reached out to the archives, they reached out to the Department of Justice, and they immediately, rightfully so, reached out to them to let them know what they had discovered. And that is the process. That is what his lawyers did. Again, it's an ongoing process. As you stated in your question, I am limited in what I can say. It is now in the hands of the Department of Justice. They are reviewing this, as you know. The special counsel was announced by the Attorney General, and so I will leave it there.
what was the president trying to say when he referenced his Corvette earlier today? Because it sounded like he was implying that because his garage is a safe place for his car,
It's a safe place for the documents.
And therefore, if it was safe for the car, it was safe for the documents. Is that what he meant?
Look, I'm going to just leave his statement as is. I think your colleague was having a back and forth with the president. You can read the transcript of what was asked of him and why he responded that way. I'm just not going to get into specifics.
You talked about we are being transparent. Who's we, and what is the definition of transparent in this case? Is it the lawyers being transparent legally with the archives and the Justice Department? Or is it the White House writ large being transparent with the general public?
So number one, and I've said this multiple times already.
Oh my
we
God.
take this very seriously. The president takes this very seriously.
Oh my God. The president takes this very seriously. The president takes very seriously.
He was not aware that the records were there. He does not.
Because the Attorney General this morning said that the attorneys reached out to the archives. It was only later in December when the second batch was apparently found, that they were reaching out to the Justice
I will
Department.
I will leave it to what the Department of Justice is laying out. What we are saying that we reached out to the archivists, we reached out to the Department of Justice. That is what is the right thing to do in this case.
Yo, she has it down pat. It's like the only thing she's got is this is all she has. This is ridiculous. If I was this guy, I'd be frustrated. If I was any of those people in the room, these journalists in the room, I would be ready to stand, get up, reach up there, take her by the neck and just shake her and say, spit out the truth, bitch.
And so I can finish here. What has been transparent in this as well is that the White House counsel has laid out in detail on Monday to all of you.
Not everything, Karine, and you know that.
First of all, I can't talk about this, right? Because it is the Department of Justice is reviewing it. There is a review happening, Ed, right? You know this. We just heard from the Attorney General. There is a review. I am limited in what I can say to this.
Could Richard Sauer perhaps come here?
I think you should reach out to the White House counsel.
We're reaching out on a constant basis, so why not have them come here?
Okay, I am saying to you that we have put out lengthy statements and you can reach out to them, all have been doing. and I will leave it there. Go ahead, go ahead.
I will leave it
Go ahead,
there.
just-
Why not have them come and answer the
Just,
question?
they have been talking to you all pretty regularly the last couple of days. They have put out lengthy statements on this. I just read out what Richard Sarver had to say, and I would refer you to the White House counsel. I am limited in what I can say because the Department of Justice, we see them as being independent when it comes to these types of issues. And so I'm not going to go beyond what the president said, and I'm not going to go beyond what the lawyers say. I have to go around. You've asked me, Ed.
That there's going to be a limit in transparency, public, non-legal transparency, and what can be shared and said by this way.
I disagree. I disagree, Ed. There has not been a limit of transparency. There has not been a limit of transparency. That I will disagree with you on that, Justin.
2 months.
Justin.
Thanks, Karine. I did want to kind of follow up on what Ed and Phil were asking, which is
More of the hammer. Followed up. I'm going to follow up on Ed. More of the hammer for Karine Jean Pierre. I can't take it anymore. God, let them stop. Please make them stop. And Jake and our friend Ducey just put up his hands. What can Ducey do to her now? I kararoko kushai.
putting aside the question of whether the president's lawyers acted properly in handing the documents over, there's this lingering question of why there wasn't an acknowledgement of the second set of documents earlier this week. And you said that you're working through a process and going by the book, and what I'm curious is if you're trying to sort of hint at the idea that the Justice Department asked you not to reveal the second set of documents, or you were told in some way not to disclose anything that had not been made public.
I would not jump to those two conclusions. That is not what I'm stating. I am genuinely saying to you there is an ongoing process that we are going to follow. And
Yeah, he just said that. We got that. He just said to you. He just repeated your words to you that we know that there's an ongoing process. But now I need you to give me something else.
I am limited in what I can say from here. That is why my White House counsel colleagues we refer to them these past couple of days. Now this is in the hands of the Department of Justice, as you all heard from the Attorney General himself.
I guess I remain confused. If the Justice Department didn't ask you not to disclose these documents, why on Monday, as this news was coming out, Tuesday, as the president was talking about it, you didn't say, here's everything we know at this point? You know, the first set was found at the Penn Biden Center, the second set was found at his office. We're searching to make sure that there's nothing else.
Because there's an ongoing process, and you heard directly from the Attorney General today, and that is the process. That is how this is going to go. It is not going to come from here, from me at this podium. It is going to come from the Department of
You may not be able to answer, but is the library a room adjacent to the garage?
Again, I don't have any of this information that I can provide. This is under review. I would refer you to the Department of Justice. I'm just not going to go into specific.
Can't Joe Biden just tell you that? That's his house, right? He should be able to tell you. He should be able to prepare you to go out here into the meeting room, into the press room, to have conversations about this. He should say, you know, Karine, this is where the bathroom is located. This is where the garage is located. This is where they found the documents. Or is he too far gone to even remember? I digress.
Specifics here, not something from here.
And is the president's Corvette stored in the garage where the documents were found? Just for pure fact purposes.
Well, I will basically repeat what the president said. His Corvette is in the garage. I'm not going to go beyond what the president said.
And on the transparency issue, would you admit that earlier this week the White House shared incomplete information? I think that when we all heard Merrick Garland say that these documents at the residence were found on December 20th, that they were notified, that was pretty surprising to all of us based on the statements that you and the president and the counsel's office had made.
Well, as I just said, as you saw in our statement, the documents that were found.
Yo, that is deer in headlights. Look at that look. I gotta take this one too. That is beautiful. Deer in headlights.
Last night, right? They completed the search with documents being found last night, And then this morning, we put out, you heard from the White House counsel, we put out the information on specifically what was found.
Just one document was found last night.
The search was continuing, it was ongoing. The process, as I've been saying, was ongoing, and the search is clearly complete, and therefore we shared the information with all of you. Again, this is an ongoing process. I would refer you to the Department of Justice. Any other specifics or particulars, even on timeline, or any other questions that you have.
I didn't have any regret.
Right here.
I'm gonna go back, go ahead.
Oh wow, that's Ducey trying to get in there. You see how she looked and moved on? Yeah.
Some want to follow up to a couple questions, but is the president confident? You said that the search has been completed, but is the president confident that there are no additional documents with classified markings that remain in any other additional locations?
Look, I can just refer you to what his team said. The search is complete. He is confident in this process, and I will leave it there. And they've been cooperating very closely with the Department of Justice.
And we've gotten the statement that the White House did not get advance notice that Garland was appointing the special
That is
counsel.
correct.
When did the president learn? How did he learn? Was it from the press conference? Did he get a heads up before that?
We learned from the press conference.
The president?
The president, we were not giving a heads up, and we learned from the press conference.
He was in a funeral at the time. When did somebody tell him?
Right?
Look, he was at a funeral, to your point. Maybe one of his senior advisors may have told him. I actually don't know specifically when he knew, but what I can say to you, we were not giving a heads up. That I can confirm, as you all know already.
And have you had a chance to talk to him since then? Can
No,
you give us his reaction?
I have not had a chance to talk to the president about this.
Girl, you his secretary. You his mouthpiece. You his mouthpiece. You haven't had a time to bring your heads together to chat about these things. Are you serious? You really expect us to believe that? You really expect these people in the room to believe that? Come on, man.
This or his reaction. Okay.
Does the White House feel like House Republicans have a right to conduct an investigation on documents issued? They've, of course, started sending requests and saying they're going to look into this. Does that fall in the realm of sort of legitimate requests from House Republicans right
Look,
now?
I'm not going to speak to what the House Republicans decide to do. What I can speak to is that we are, the president's lawyers is complying, and they are working on this with the Department of Justice, as they have been. Again, this is something that the president takes very seriously when it comes to classified information, when it comes to classified documents. I'm just not going to go into what
Oh my God, you're so exhausting.
Yeah, the president, when he was in Mexico City and asked about the classified documents that were found in the private office of the Penn Biden Center, said that he didn't know what the documents contained or what was in them. Is that the case also with the documents found at his Wilmington residence, that he doesn't know what those documents involve?
Yeah, I already answered the question, and he does not know. He's not aware of that the records were there.
I'll come over.
Sorry, could you just clarify a little bit more about when you say that we inform the archives immediately, the Department of Justice immediately, since this happens in various points in time, what exactly was said at which juncture? Because it seems to be there's some conflict there in some...
Look, again, I will refer you to the Department of Justice. What I can tell you is that his lawyers reached out to the archivist, to the Department of Justice, which is what you're supposed to do, which is the right thing to do. I'm not going to get into specifics of time of who they reached out to first. I would refer you to the White House counsel to get more specifics. It is an ongoing process, and I would again refer to either the White House counsel or the Department of Justice for that.
Refer to somebody else. I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. Leave me alone.
Specific question. Go ahead, Kristen.
Just a couple of outstanding clarifications before I get to questions.
I see she keeps looking over there at our friend Ducey. She's trying to wonder. She's gonna have to take his she's gonna have to take his question. Let's see how she does.
Salver said there were documents in the garage and one document in an adjacent room. Merrick Garland said the DOJ was informed of one additional document this morning. Is that the same document, the additional document and the document found in the adjacent room?
So let me just say, during the review, and this is so that folks know, the lawyers discovered among personal and political papers a small number of additional Obama-Biden administration records with classified markings. All but one of these documents were found in storage space in the president's Wilmington residence garage. One document consisting of one page was discovered among stored materials in an adjacent room. No documents were found in the Rehoboth Beach house. Look, I just want to underscore that this is something again, that the president takes very seriously. It underscores how...
If she says that one more time, I'm going to literally scream. So if you guys see me scream, it's because of this, because I can't hear her one more time.
We executed the search with the DOJ to make sure that they continued cooperating fully with the review. And I think that is what we are trying to be very clear about, is that we have been, the president's lawyers has been cooperating fully. I'm not going to get into the specifics as to, you have the statement. I would refer you to the president's lawyer or anything else specifically on this, or the Department of Justice, because they are actually reviewing this currently.
To go back to something we were trying to pin down yesterday, can you tell us today, when did the president find out initially about that?
Here's that Nixon question. When did the president know? How did it go? How does it go? What did he know and when did he know it?
First batch of documents and then the second batch. Our reporting says he was told on November 2nd. Is that true?
So what I can say to you is that the president has been kept informed by his counsel throughout this process. I don't have a specific date, but I can tell you that the president was kept informed throughout. Don't have a timeline to share for you right now. Again, this is under ongoing review, and so want to be careful and prudent of what I share here at the podium.
When the search started and why they were searching in the first place, was the president concerned that there may be classified documents? Did someone tip them off? What sparked this?
Again, I'm just not going to go into details from here. I'm not going to go into specifics from here. This is ongoing. This review is continuing. It's ongoing. I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Said repeatedly, the president has said he takes classified documents very seriously.
Oh, nice.
If that's the case, why were these classified documents being stored in his garage?
Nice.
Look, again, and not just me. He has said this. You've heard the president say this twice already, and he's said this before, classified documents and information. He takes that very seriously, and you see,
Garage is the appropriate place to store classified
I'm not going to go into
Sure.
what he thinks or how he feels about what is currently happening. What I can say for sure, when it comes to this specific issue about classified documents, about classified information, he takes that very seriously. He did not know. Right? He did not know the records were there. He was surprised that the records were there. So let's be very clear. That is something that the president shared with all of you on the world stage and also recently today. And so what occurred was, as I've said multiple times before, is when his team identified that these records existed, they handed them over to the archivist and also the Department of Justice.
I'm just holding out for our boy Ducey to get his question in. I'm so over this. I'm so over it.
One more, Karine. Do you acknowledge that the fact that the White House did not reveal this to the public, despite the fact that you've known about it for months, undercuts the president's promise of being transparent?
But here's the thing. They were transparent. There was transparency in doing what you're supposed to do when these items were discovered.
Not with the American people.
Look, I am here standing in front of you answering these questions, right? The president...
You're not answering a goddamn thing.
...took 2 questions this week on this. You've heard... Wait, let me just answer. You've heard from the White House counsel who put out multiple statements on this. And so, again, this is an ongoing process. We want to respect the process. And we have laid out very clearly what occurred. Again, don't want to get ahead of this. The Department of Justice, you all can will get your questions answered from them during this time. And so I would just refer you to the Department of Justice. And now, as you all know, there's a special counsel.
Thank you, Karine. Another one on GarageGate. What is the White House trying to hide?
Nothing.
Someone gave the president a statement to read on Tuesday that was incomplete at best, misleading at worst. Who?
So I have read out the president's statement. I read it out yesterday and what he said. He said that he respects or he takes classified information
very seriously.
That's what he said. He said that he did not know that the records were there. He does not know what's in them. He said that. You heard from him directly on this.
That's not even what he asked.
Cooperating fully. And not only that, again, I'll say
that's not what he asked you. He asked you about the speech and who wrote it and who. That's what he asked.
The Attorney General said this himself, that he heard from the team shortly after. So we have laid out what has occurred here. You've heard from the White House counsel. I just read the statement from his lawyer. And again,
I wonder how this person doing the signs, how does she feel about this repeating of the same things? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about having to repeat the same thing over and over to these people that you're communicating with? Even they might feel like this is some BS, that this girl's not answering questions because you keep telling them the same thing.
You know, we take this very seriously, and the president does as well.
When will the White House release a log of visitors to the Wilmington House?
You know, Peter, you've asked this question, or your colleagues have asked this question before. Let's not forget what we did here in this White House. We instituted something that the last administration got rid of, which is putting out the White House, making sure that there was a White House log, extensive White House log, so the American people got to see.
House where there is potentially unsecured classified material.
Again, I am telling you, we did something that the last administration got rid of, which is instituting the White House logs. Did you ask the last administration why they got rid of the White House logs? Okay, let's go. Well, if Fox did, go ahead.
Wow. Look at that. You know, during this whole process, people have gone 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times. Peter Juicy, 1 question, 2 questions at tops, and she moves on.
The Delaware residents.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was calling the gentleman who wanted to ask a question that was not related to this. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm done answering questions related to this. I'm moving on. And so, friends, that's what she did. That Peter Ducey asked his questions, and you saw how that went. And I've just about had it with this. I'm done with this video, and we're going to close out. So let's do that. So I did a lot of talking in between but the whole point of this whole thing is that she is very frustrating. She does not answer the questions, and she picks and chooses. And, you know, Peter Ducey asked a very valid question in reference to, you know, everybody did. I have to say, everybody did. Everybody had good questions. They were pushing her. But the way she dismissed him was just, you know, she didn't treat the rest of them that way. And the way she turned this thing around to talk about Trump and his administration, Trump and his administration is not the one under the fire here. Yours is. And they just love to deflect and turn everything around. I mean, they don't answer questions anyway, but it's just that they're always going to, you know, throw Trump under there, like, you know, or his administration. That administration did a whole lot for the American people, and he wasn't found, documents weren't found in his home or all over town like Joe Biden has. But in any event, I'm going to close this out. It's a long one, and I am late to the party with these videos. This recording is being done like a week later afterwards. You probably won't see it for a while still because of my strike on YouTube, and I can't post anything. So I'm still gonna just make recordings, and once the ban is lifted, I suppose, these videos will be going out there. But for now, you're going to be seeing this really late. Like, I just got here and this thing has been going on all this time. So any event, that's going to be the video, you all. Thank you so much for watching, joining and subscribing. I really do appreciate it. And again, I have moved to Rumble, and I am at the Conservative Poet on Rumble. I've been posting videos there. You will catch me there. I've actually been posting my older videos there, and so I'll be putting new ones as well, but I just wanted to start feeding Rumble some videos, so you might see things there that you've already seen already on YouTube. So yeah, I'm at the Conservative Poet. You can find me there on rumble.com. Thanks a lot, and I'll see y'all next time. And by the way, we've got a whole lot of souls to save.